In this video, we'll be talking about introversion versus extroversion. And I'm going to let you guys know in advance, I might mix up those two words because I'm going to be saying them a lot. And if I make a mistake, please let me know in the comments and tell me how awful of a person I am and how I suck at life and how my videos suck too. Thanks. So, we're going to start off with a little game. I have two pictures up on the screen now, and I would like to ask you, which group do you think is introverted and which group do you think is extroverted? And please let me know in the comments below. I really want to know your first thoughts on these two pictures. Just let me know what you think in terms of which group is introverted and which group is extroverted. The top group will be group 1, and the bottom group will be group 2, because I don't know what animes they come from. I've seen them, I've seen their pictures, but I don't know what show it's from, so yeah, go ahead. Some anime person's gonna get really butthurt I said that. And I know most of you are like, introvert versus extrovert. Really, bro? I already know the difference. Like, it's really easy. And this picture pretty much will sum up how you're feeling about it. You know, you got the guy that's like, I'm staying in tonight. And he's an extrovert, so he's sad. So you just see his little sad face. And if you look, it's like an upside down smirk, which is kind of funny. But whatever. And then you got the introvert saying the same thing. I'm staying in tonight. And he's like, I'll raise the roof over there. Oh, yeah, I'm staying in tonight. And, yeah, you're pretty much, some of you might be thinking, can we move on now? Like, I want to find out my type. I already know if I'm an I or E. Like, seriously, what I need to know is whether I'm a P or a J. Like, you need to get to that, like, immediately. And I'm going to let you know that that's the next video. But obviously, you know the difference between introverts and extroverts. So, great job. You totally understand the difference. And that ends this video. Now, wait. No, it doesn't. In fact, if you believe that, you would actually be incorrect. And it's because of you being incorrect with that and making that assumption, it's probably why you mistyped yourself and you're having these problems to begin with. So, way to go, dummy. Now, let me explain how this works. Now, you know, back when you were in school, or if you're in school now, you probably went over this thing called evolution. And while you're within the classroom setting, this is what evolution is. If someone says evolution, especially the teacher, this is what's going to come to mind for you. Now, if you're outside of school and you hear evolution, Pokemon's probably going to come to mind to you. Because that's a very popular game. A lot of people play it. And if someone says evolution, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I love evolving my Pokemon. Especially since Pokemon Go is so popular now. Now, you'll notice that these are, in fact, the very same word with different meanings based on the context that they're said. Now, we know that normally when you think of an extrovert, it's someone who loves to be around people. They love to be in the limelight. Like, they just are the stars of their own little shows. They like to talk a lot. They like to really be animated with the way that they talk, using gestures and so on and so forth. And they like to just act. They don't think about what they do. They just do it. And you know, introverts, they're shy. They're quiet. They really think about what they do before they do it. Really self-conscious about themselves and so forth. And when they get around people, they're awkward because it's like, oh, I got to think about what I'm going to do, but I have to act in real time. This is really difficult for me. And you know, if you're thinking that, then you have mastered introversion versus extroversion. In the social definition, you have it. You understand it. However, that's just everyday terms. That's like going to class and trying to say evolution is Pokemon. The teacher is going to look at you and be like, no, we're talking about evolution. You're going to fail your test. So when you're talking about MBTI, there is a definition change because the context is different. And introversion and extroversion in MBTI terms is the direction of the energy. So if the energy is going towards you, it's introversion. And if the energy is going outward, that's extroversion. The difference is, within MBTI, these are not learned behaviors. Whether you're an introvert or extrovert in the social setting, it's something learned. You can learn how to be social. But for this stuff, this is not learning it. This is your natural preference. Alright guys, in MBTI terms, since MBTI has its roots in psychology, I believe Jung's talking about the subject and the object. The subject being you, the individual, you listening to this right now. You are the subject, and anything outside of you is the object. So when he's talking about the inner world, it's towards the subject. The energy is going towards the subject, and anything with the outer world is going towards the object or the star in this picture. And to really get your head to grasp this concept, I'm going to use Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, one of my favorite games, although I'm not particularly excited about the remake, although it does look gorgeous and nostalgia flows through me like Mako through the planet. So we have all seen a sword at one time or another in a cartoon or book, TV, whatever. You've seen what a sword looks like. And you know that a sword basically has three parts. You have the hilt, what you use to grab the sword. You have the guard that protects your hand from the blade. And then you have the blade, and that's what cuts. So think of introversion as the hilt, because it's subject based. It's made for the subject to hold, to wield the sword. And think of the guard as a barrier between the inner world and the outer world. And it's essentially what protects your hand from the blade. And then you have the blade. This is object based. This is made to interact with the environment. You're either going to cut objects like things, cars, trees, plants, whatever you cut things with a sword. And then it's going away from you. So pretty much it's focused on the outer world and the hilt's focused on the inner world, if you will. So introversion is towards the subject. It's subject based. So you, the subject, are holding the hilt of the sword. You're not giving the hilt to your opponent, because then they'll have the sword and you'll be pretty screwed. And extroversion is away from the individual. It's object-based. You, the subject, do not intend to harm yourself with your own sword, but you intend to harm whatever you're trying to cut. Typically an object, and in games, your enemies. And that's pretty much introversion and extroversion in a nutshell, using Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Thanks. I'm pretty sure you made this more interesting than what it would have been if I were just talking with no pictures. Now, in MBTI's origins, we have Carl Jung, who attempted to explain the differences between people. And originally he thought there were two types of people, an introvert and an extrovert. Introverts being people whose energies were primarily directed inward towards the thoughts and experience in their inner environment. So pretty much the people that are focused on the hilt, the grabbing the sword, they are focused on that. And then you had extroverts, being people whose energies were primarily orientated outwardly towards people and events and their external environment, aka the blade. Jung seen these as attitudes, or a readiness of the psyche to act or react in a certain way. So whether you're introvert or extrovert in MBTI terms is based on the direction of your dominant function. Now, I won't be getting into functions for this video, so if you're asking what a function is, don't worry, it's coming down the line. But just know that the main purpose of this is for you to know that this has nothing to do whether you're outgoing and loud or quiet and shy. In MBTI, it's the direction of your dominant function that determines whether you're introverted or extroverted, not whether you're a party goer or if you like to stay at home. That's not really what picks that. So if you're thinking that, that's a myth, and I pretty much debunked that in part 0 of this series that I'd recommend you check out. But, you know, people have things in lives, so I'm not going to expect you to do it. You will see that Jung actually specifically says that when you're extroverted, it doesn't mean you're more sociable. And introverted doesn't mean shy. So why people still believe this, I don't know. But, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And when we're looking at it from his point of view, is talking about the subject and the object, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, because MBTI is of course coming from psychology, but people don't really make that shift in their thoughts with it. So like I said, extroverts have their energy going towards the outer world. It's the blade. That's what they're focused on, is the blade and how it interacts with things. And introverts are mostly concerned with the inner world. What's my hilt like? What does my handle feel like? I want to make sure I have a really decorative handle, so on and so forth, because they're going to see that, not the opponent. And this picture is here because I just think it's funny, and I really want to work it in somehow, and I just did. Introverts desire to stay focused on their internal world. They're focused on being a subject and to place value to it and maintain the focus of the subject as long as they can. So they like to be in a world of ideas, concepts, and experiences that they've had. And extroverts like to interact with their environment, and that's what's important to them. And they like to keep interacting with their environment, be it people or the environment, such as like food and objects and so on and so forth. Alright guys, we're going to do a little bit of role-playing. And not the LARPing variety. So pretty much we have this big baddie who's come to Earth and he wants to blow it up. You know, some people are trolling him online. He didn't like it, so he wants to blow up the planet because of it. Completely reasonable. And you have to stop him. Now, you're going to focus your power to launch a Kamehameha at this guy. Like, you're going to go Super Saiyan, and you're going to send him into space and make him reevaluate his life. So, I need you to help me. You have to shoot this Kamehameha at him. So, let's do it. Do the Kamehameha motion. Put your hands in front of you, and then pull him back by your hip and start saying the words Kamehameha, and then on ha, you throw your hands out and you shoot the blast at him. So let's just, that was like a warm up. We're going to do the real one now. We got to try it out on the screen. So Kamehameha. Alright. No, seriously, I really expect for you to do this. I'm actually expecting for you to do this. So I'm gonna give you another shot if you didn't. If you thought I was just gonna do it, I'm literally doing it as I'm recording this. So I really want you to do it with me, so I don't feel like a dummy. Now let's do it again. Put your hands out to the waist. Kamehameha. Yeah, yes, I am not joking. I'm dead serious. I need you to do this. Save the Earth. Stop being a jerk. Don't you love the internet? Alright, this is your last chance to save the Earth. And if you don't do this, Earth is doomed. Everyone dies. Okay, let's try this again. Hands out to the waist. Kamehameha. Alright, so let's go ahead and end this role-playing session. For those of you who participated, I would like to thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And for those who didn't, screw you, you loser. That little roleplay section was to explain preference. And a preference is a liking for one thing over the other thing. You have your preferences, and normally you'll see this with your hands, that you have a dominant hand and a hand that you're so-so with. So my question to you, the YouTube audience, would be, how did you shoot your Kamehameha wave? Let us know in the comment section below. So when you performed it, did you put your right hand on the top? Or did you have your left hand on top? Now, this would show your preference, because it's a choice based on what makes you feel more comfortable. Alright, and this is a preemptive strike for any of you special snowflakes out there. Now, there was a case where I was on Personality Cafe and I was trying to explain this to somebody, and they pretty much was like, hey, I use both hands, so I don't really want to listen to what you have to say. But now, with this example with the Kamehameha, one hand has to be on top. Otherwise, it's not really a Kamehameha, is it? So, pretty much take that, snowflakes, because that's exactly how preferences work in MBTI. You have a preference. You will pick one on top and the other to be on the bottom, because you can't have a Kamehameha where you're in the middle. So pretty much you put your best foot forward. With extroverts, they put their dominant extroverted function out there, and that's how they choose to interact with the environment. And introverts, they do the opposite. They choose to interact with themselves. So, what some people might assume is that the theory is saying that extroverts never like to be alone and introverts don't like to be sociable, but that's not really true. And the reason for that is because you're both. You have an extroverted function and an introverted function in your top two for your primary and auxiliary functions. So you use both functions. You just use one more than the other. So just because you're introverted doesn't mean you don't like going around, going to parties, being around people, and so on and so forth. And just because you're extroverted doesn't mean that you don't like just chilling at home by yourself, reading a book, or whatever. And like I said, whether you're introvert or extrovert, in MBTI terms, is based off of your dominant function, not whether you're outgoing or shy, because those are learned behaviors. That's from the social definitions. So when people are like, I can't be an extrovert because I'm shy and I'm quiet and I love spending most of my time on the internet. Well, the proper thing to do is to ask them why. Why are you shy? Why are you quiet? And why are you on the internet? Now, for some people, they might be shy because they really want to make a good impression to others. So they try to limit how many people they be around. For them being quiet, they don't want to say something stupid and make themselves look less desirable to others. And spending time on the internet, you could be spending time researching something, or you could be spending time talking to people on like social media or Facebook, whatever site that you use to talk to people. So that's why this oversimplification is bad, because it's not really what it is in MBTI terms. In social definition, yes, this is what extrovert and introvert is. But when you're talking about MBTI, it's case by case. You have to talk to the individual to see why they are out there interacting with people or why they are not out there interacting with people. And to answer the question about which group is introverted and which one is extroverted in the beginning of the video I showed, the only way you're going to find out is if you go to talk to each individual. Because at the top picture, it could be a group of introverts finally being able to go back to where they feel comfortable at. Maybe going home, reading a book, or sitting alone, whatever. And the bottom picture, you would assume that these are the introverts, but they are in a group hanging out playing video games. So it's hard to tell which one is the introvert or extrovert unless you actually talk to them. And this is, of course, if you stick to the original theory.